Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared, and how's everybody doing tonight? We did start 1 minute early. I seen Q1 Fiend in the comments, so we must be ready. We must be ready to go. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully all is well with everybody. We got a bunch of subjects to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. First, I just want to mention on Saturday, Ray from Everyday City Carry is coming on the channel about what is it, 8 o'clock, well, my time, 8 o'clock. So he'll be here about 30 minutes after we start. We're going to bring him in, and me and him are going to do a live together. I just was on his podcast last night. Kara stopped in. Hopefully you guys watched that. The first beginning of it, I really hope all you guys go watch it, because me and him talk about a lot of crazy shit. But just like with any channel, it seems like it takes about 30 minutes till you really start getting into the fun stuff. Me and him did almost 3 hours. We did 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I know that's a long time to watch or listen to anybody. But if you're at work and you can have earbuds in or something, listen to it, check it out. We did check out, I don't want to give up everything that we did, but it was fun. And I plan on going on there again very soon, because there's a lot of things me and him like to get into, but it seems like we usually don't get into it till later. But tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to bring him on. We're going to do some EDC talk, some knife talk, and then we're going to push some crazy questions. Probably around 9 o'clock. We'll start with the crazy questions. Let him tell some stories. What's up, Erwin? So I want to talk about, just really quick, because I have a video coming tomorrow. Oh, watch my unboxing tomorrow. It's pretty good. From Dave Warren. If you guys don't know who Dave Warren is, he is the guy for Tuya Knives. Tuya Knives is great. He's the USA representative for Tuya. He sent me some knives that I've wanted to check out, and I never have. Not one of them have I ever checked out before. All amazing, but there's a couple in there that I've been wanting to check out for a long time. And Jared, how's the Cardboard Killer Max Ace Goliath doing? It's doing great. It's actually in the box. Since I already reviewed it, it's got a nice crispy edge on it. Yeah, it's oh, what's up, Bama Knife Guy? Dave is good people. He's great people. And I got some of his knives in for sharpening. So they're not going to be for review or anything. I'm just going to sharpen them, but I did an unboxing of first impressions. And after that, if I, depending on how long I have them, maybe I'll show a couple in a video. I don't think he'll mind, but I'm just not going to let that mean that I'll hang on to them any longer. I'm going to try to get them sharpened up and back to him as soon as possible. But after the unboxing, then I'll expose some of the knives that were in there. There's another knife I want to show you guys right now, but I can't because I got the video going up tomorrow. It's very cool. But Kizer's heat treat on M390 and 20CV. Let's talk about it, because surprisingly, I've been impressed. And it's kind of a nervous thing to make a statement like that, because you guys know just as well as I do, Outpost 76 or one of the cut testers could do a cut test, and literally everything that's coming out of my mouth can be full of shit, right? They can do a cut test and I'll look like an idiot. Right. And the only excuse I could have is, well, maybe it was just their model, right? Maybe it was my model. All I'm saying is that the two knives that I've sharpened and tested from Kizer's, and remember, these knives aren't expensive. The one is $130 and the other one's $150. But I've been impressed. One, I'm not saying from a controlled cut test perspective, because I don't do that, but just basic EDC in my pocket cutting stuff, the edges have been holding up. Now, I will admit, my October, after sharpening it, thing is, I can't really remember everything I did. So, but after sharpening it, it seems like it's lost its bite a lot. But I might have used the heck out of it. I don't remember, but I know before the review, the factory edge held up really good and it felt really good on the stone. Now, the knife that's going to be reviewed tomorrow, same thing. Like, it just felt so good on the stone. You know it when that steel hits the stone, how it feels. Now, I want to talk about something that I don't think people understand so much, because I get some comments sometimes, and it's understandable. You know, like, I remember being super confused about this subject too. And I still am. I still am. In a lot of other ways, right? But people seem to think that if a heat treat is done well, right? So if it's S90V, M390 Maximum, whatever steel, doesn't matter. If it's done very well, that it's harder to sharpen. But that's not the case. It's easier to sharpen. It's so much easier to sharpen. So if you get a soft M390, K390, whatever, pick the steel, it is going to be far harder to sharpen, far more difficult to sharpen than a good heat treat that's HRC'd high and has a high Rockwell that's hard, right? It's going to be so much easier. Like, it sometimes it feels like you're sharpening a budget steel. When you have a good solid heat treat with high HRC, it literally can feel like you're sharpening a budget steel. And it's because, and I'm going to explain it and try to break it down so you guys understand it, like, why. So think about clay, right? Clay is soft. Think about trying to sharpen clay. It'd be like impossible, right? You just push it back and forth. You'd mold it. You'd try your best. But, what would you'd get like an angle, you wouldn't be able to sharpen it. It would just be pushing. But now heat it up and turn it into a pot, right? Like something hard or whatever, dry it, whatever. Now it's going to be easier because it's harder. So to sharpen it, one, it can get a crisper edge because it's not soft, and two, taking the material away is gonna scratch off so much easier. And if it was soft, you wouldn't scratch it off, you would just push it. Well, it's the same thing with a heat treat. When you get a soft heat treat, it feels like you're just pushing steel. It literally does. You're going across the stone and it just feels like the steel's going like this, just getting pushed back and forth rather than just getting cut right off. So think about it like that when you hear me talking about it felt good on the stone. Like, the steel felt good on the stone, meaning when I'm going across the stone, I can feel the steel being cut right off of the edge, leaving a nice flat surface for an apex. Now, if I'm doing a convex edge, which I want to talk about convex versus V grind and also hollow versus flat grind here in a second. And I know in the last live, sometimes I mention stuff that I want to talk about that I have written down and I don't get to them. And I apologize for that, because I feel like an idiot when I say, oh, we're going to talk about this in a second, and then I never get to it. But with, oh man, Meg, thank you. Thank you. Jared, if you could show and recommend 2 or 3 smallish knives in the higher end range you'd recommend as forever knife, I'd be grateful. Ooh, well, I'll be honest. If you're talking about like a forever knife, then you're talking about a small Sebenza or a small Hinder XM18. Those are forever knives. I got one right here. So I don't have any small Sebenzas, but I do have a small Hinder 3-inch. It's only a 3-inch knife, or 3-inch blade, I should say. If you want a good size perspective, I guess, I don't know if you know this knife, but here's the Kizer October, and it's not a big knife, but they also come in flipper versions like this. So you can get the flipper. This one's got the fuller. These are expensive though. You said high end. A 3-inch XM18 with a tri-way. Now there's also something like the half track. Small, compact, it's a hinder half track. These are all forever knives. They're knives that can last forever. The one thing though is that they're not very thin behind the edge. However, for just a few bucks, you could send them to BGM Knives and get a regrind for like 60 bucks and make them nice and thin. Put a hollow grind on there, whatever you want. I think those are great ones. And then also the small Sabens. Now, if you're looking for good action, see, the thing is that what's the budget, right? You say high end, it just depends on what's high end to you. Because like, and also what's small. That's another thing. Because like even this, man, this concept, I mean, this is insane. This is like 200 bucks, the concept Convex, but it's not big. This is the thing, when people ask those questions, the best thing to say is like a drop point blade, under $300, things like that. Because if you add in one detail, it changes everything. Because like right now I'm thinking like, oh, what if this blade shape looks ugly to you? What if you don't like thumb studs, right? And then I'm recommending a knife with thumb studs. Okay, I've seen some questions. Hang on one second. Let me get to them. I'm a knife guy. All right. Hey, Jared. So I got a question. My new F3NS, I play with it a lot, but I've noticed its pivot screw moves on its own after I play with it for a while. I haven't touched it. Is that a problem? Okay, so it has a free spinning pivot, most likely. Okay, if it has a free spinning pivot, that's one of the complaints about the knives. Most likely it's not an issue. Most likely it's got Loctite on it and it doesn't matter. It's just spinning. However, I mean, I don't notice mine doing that at all. Most likely, okay, and I'm not saying do this, because if it's not loosening out, I wouldn't worry about it. If it's not loosening out and getting blade play, leave it. But keep checking that. Make sure you keep an eye on that. However, if something like that does happen and it starts giving you, like it starts loosening out or getting play, it most likely, I don't know if it'll get play because, but anyways, if it starts loosening out, you might have to take it apart very gently and clean the pivot, put it back together. The Loctite might have gotten on there. And when the blade is going back and forth, it's such a tight, remember, the tolerances are very tight. So it's probably touching the pivot when it spins from Loctite or something, or maybe there's not oil on it or something. And it's moving it, right? But if you took it apart and cleaned it and dripped a little oil on there or a little bit of grease around the pivot where, like inside the hole of the knife where the knife can spin around the pivot, it'll free it up. That damn blue hardware looks great. The whipper. Oh, yeah, the whippers. The fucking whipper snapper. Why did we talk about the whipper snapper? Oh my God. That's a good one. Good idea. Yeah, you want a good high-end small knife? Here you go. The whipper snapper. This is a great high-end small knife. It also comes in another blade. Well, there's two blade shapes. I prefer this one. And then there's the busker. I prefer this way over the busker. The busker is really thick behind the edge. This one's nice. Like this one's got good geometry. You can Spidey flick it very easily too. And the top flipper is like one of the easiest top flippers you can use. So the Olamic whippersnapper to Meg. Meg was asking about a couple smaller high-end knives. That's a fantastic option. We got another ding, ding, ding. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Thank you, man. Just get the Kizer. Oh, I got one coming too. The D Lorme. Awesome. What do you recommend next? Concept Mini Cryo in the orange peel titanium or the wee kite fin with carbon fiber black wash titanium? That's tough. That's tough because you know why it's tough is, oh wait, you said the mini crowd. Okay, the mini. Man. Okay, so one is just a flipper, right? If you want geometry and you're looking for a little razor blade then I would go with the kite fin, because that's what that is. That the thing's a little razor blade, but it's not tough. It's not tough at all. Now the mini cryo is going to be one of those happy medium knives, where especially the mini, like the full size one, is a work knife. And I'm not saying it's thick behind the edge, because it's not. It's a great slicer. I'm just saying it's a full size good knife, right? You can get leverage behind it. But the mini version, it's obviously not that knife. It's not a full size work knife, but it's a work knife shrunken down in a little package. So you're going to have decent geometry from it. It's going to cut good. It has good action. I honestly think that the concept might be a better option, because there's more fidget factor, and the kite fin's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love the kite fin. But I think you might have a better experience with. It's hard to say, man, because if you were looking for just like a little razor in your pocket, then you go for the kite fin, because that thing is a little razor. But if you're going to be tough on it whatsoever, you definitely go with the concept. Did everything make it undamaged? Oh, never mind. Yeah, I have the micarta version. Great knife, man. The action's great on those. Right now it's at Mike Emler's, and he's reviewing it. He loved it. All right, so we were talking about Kizer's heat treat, right? And I'm saying that the two, I've sharpened more M390 from them, but the two from the newest recent batch felt pretty good, right? From my perspective, I would love to see a controlled test on it. Now, with what was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh yeah, I was talking about the sharpening, why it's more difficult. Now, convex edges. Okay, so going into like a convex edge, the benefit for let's talk about the difference, right? I meant so the difference between a convex edge and a V grind is a convex edge is rounded like this. So when you sharpen it like that. A V grind is exactly what it sounds like. It looks like a V. That the sides of the edge bevel are flat. So when you sharpen a convex edge, which is actually sometimes easier for beginner freehand sharpeners to do, because you get movement. So, whether you're sharpening in the hand or on a table, you most likely move a little bit like this. So it's going to help round that edge. Now, there's nothing wrong with a convex edge. Convex edge is actually tougher than a V grind. So if you're hard on your knives and you find that your edge is chipping every once in a while, some people don't realize that they're tougher on their knives than maybe that steel deserves. And then you got to think about the steel. What steel do you got? Is it a tough steel? Because a lot of steels are not tough, right? They're not made to be beat on. They're only made for cutting. So you might need a tougher steel. However, there's also a way you just get a convex edge on there. If you put a convex edge on there, you got less likely of a chance of it chipping on you. Now, in my opinion, a V grind can be sharper, but then there's also the argument that that's not true, because you don't have the corner. Like a V grind is going to have a corner at the top of the V getting onto the blade. A convex doesn't. It just rounds up. But I think, in my opinion, it's a little bit sharper, because literally behind the very tip of the apex is thinner. But that's also why it's weaker. So, you just got to kind of weigh out the options for yourself. But then there's also a V grind, and you can put a micro bevel on there. A micro bevel is just basically another bevel at the very tip. Spyderco, when you get Spydercos, pretty much all Spydercos from the factory come with a micro bevel. You might not be able to realize it because it's really tiny and it's hard to see. Yes, convex edges usually will last longer. What I do notice though? I've had tons of, I've done a lot of convex edges. and this could be just anecdotal completely from me, but from my perspective, I think a V grind, like even though a convex edge is tougher and lasts longer without chipping, if you're just cutting, right? If you're not being hard on it, then in my opinion, a convex edge will get slicker before a V grind, meaning a V grind will hold its bite longer than a convex. Now, that could be just from my perspective, from my anecdotal evidence, and but from what I've noticed, that's what I've noticed. How would you do it your own finger choil? Okay, so there's a couple different ways. If you're doing a whole finger choil, I would get. Let me grab it. Just give me 1 second. You're being loud. You're loud. All right, so you can get like a bit like this. So this is a tungsten carbide bit, and you can cut it out. But then you can also get things like this, the different bits, right? The different stone bits. And you first start off with a diamond bit like this. If you have a Dremel, Dremels are cheap though. Everybody should have a Dremel. If you buy knives, get a damn Dremel. You can get one. You can go to a pawn shop and get one for probably 10, 20 bucks. You can go to Ace Hardware or something, probably get one for like 20, 30, 40 bucks max. And then these are what it costs, but they're still cheap though. You get a little diamond bit like this, cut it out, or tungsten carbide bit, cut it out. Then you can use the other bits, the stones and stuff, to soften it. You can, or just get some sandpaper. So after you cut it, get some good sandpaper and get it wet, and then sand it down, and you'll be able to match the finish. Not only will you be able to basically match, depending on the finish. If it's a coated blade, obviously you can't, but satin blade, you just match it up as good as you can, but it'll soften it up to where the edges aren't sharp and is nice and rounded, and it looks good. It'll look like a factory choil. It's actually a lot easier than you think. It just takes the tools and the time, And the balls, that's another thing. Now, the one thing you do have to watch out for is you have to make sure when you close it, there's not a stop pin in that area. So like this right here, there's a stop pin there. See that? That's a closing stop pin. That stop pin hits right here. So if I was going to cut a choil in, a finger choil, it wouldn't work on this, because when I'm cutting it right here, I'm going to mess it up and it won't be able to hit the stop pin when it closes. Luckily, they put the best kind of sharpening choil you could put on a knife on this one. But if I, wanted to put a finger choil on there, it wouldn't be the best knife to do it on. So you just want to make sure that there's room for you to do that without ruining the closing stop pin. Does the friction from grinding affect heat treat? No, because you do it on a low speed. Always do it on a low speed. So like even if you're drilling a hole into hardened steel, say you have, a bit, for drilling hardened steel, you still want to go slow because you don't want to burn the bit either. Like, it's not just about the blade. It's also about your bit that you're using, and you want to put oil on it. So you drip oil on it and then you drill. But like with that, like grinding the finger choil, no, you're going at a slow speed. You'll never make it hot enough to where you can't touch it. If you can touch it, then it's not hot enough to burn it. So just keep it nice and cool. Like, that's why I said, like, you can put a little water on it if you want to. That'll help. But in all reality, it never really gets hot. So, and if you do feel it starting to get warm, drip a little water on there. As long as you can touch it, it's not hot. It's not hot enough to burn the steel. Okay, where's cue ball? Oh yeah, I answered that one. All right. But and then Mike Emler, see what he does specifically is he pees on it. Something with his urine from all the coffee he drinks. It can actually make the heat treat even better. So right, get them all in here. Oh man. So next thing. Oh, we were talking about the Dremel thing, right? Extra tools for EDC, like when you have a knife collection, there's little tools, right? You don't have to necessarily be a sharpener or a knife modder at all. You could literally just own knives and never want to work on any knives, but you should still have some of these tools just in case, like the Dremel thing I was saying, right? Because even though, say, you don't work on knives, cutting in just a little tiny notch on something is very easy, or cutting in a jimp to make your jimping easier, or the tools to take apart your knife to mess with the detent. It's super easy. It's very, very easy to adjust the detent strength, or even to just clean your knife. So having the good tools, good driver, good T8s, Wiha Bits, right? I advocate for Wiha Bits, a Dremel, having those little things, even like a little pick, so that you can, like me, like sometimes I run into burrs on a knife or something, or there might be something down in there and I don't want to take the knife all the way apart. There's so many little tiny tools that help you out. Like I just seen Mike Emler, he had these little Q-tips, but they weren't like regular Q-tips. They were like they were smaller, but they made it to where like you could, like, he could spread his oil around his pivot easier, and just like doing little detail work. And I'm definitely going to get some of those. It's such a good idea because I use regular Q-tips right now, and I'll usually take some of the cotton off and then use it. Is Logical out of here? See you later, Logical, man. Thank you for kicking it with us. Got it. Just had a video go live. Everybody, after this, go check out Mike Emler's video. He just had one go live. Hey, Glyco. Hey, will a knife have problems if the lock face is just titanium and doesn't have a steel lock bar? Not necessarily. So, thank you for the donation, bud. Thank you. So, if you are, let's go past it and say you are having problems. There's two things you can do. One, you can just send it to Knife Modders. Richie B and Lindy Lou, they might stop in here. If you're having lock stick issues, it's only going to probably get worse. So get it carbidized. You can send it into Richie B and Lindy Lou, Knife Modders, and they will carbonize the lock face. Now, most, not all, but most knives that are only titanium frame locks are supposed to have a carbonized lock face, which will pretty usually make it where you won't have lock stick. Not saying it's not possible, but usually, right? All my knives that have carbonized lock faces, almost all of them are great, right? Some of them get a little snug, but they're not stick. But if they ever get to that point, I'm getting them carbonized again. Anyways, my point is that when it becomes an issue, you can just get it carbonized yourself. Now, another thing you can do is you can put permanent marker on the lock face. Or not the lock face. So, say if this is the lock bar, the lock face, where it lands on the tang of the blade, exactly where it locks up at, put permanent marker there. First, dry it off, put permanent marker there, blow on it, let it dry again, put another layer of permanent marker. Then if that doesn't work, add a little layer of lead pencil. The whatchamacallit in the lead will make it go away. You won't have an issue after that. Now, if it rubs off, just do it again, and because you'll make it get on the face of the lock bar, and you might have to apply it a couple times, but it'll eventually go away. And if it comes back in the future, just do it again. That will hold you off for a long time. Like I did one and it lasted for like 6 months before it ever got removed. Cue ball, Jared, that first carbon fiber Tucson you showed had a lock up issue. Got it right here. I had to grind a wee bit off the lock face of the blade so the lock would engage properly. Talking about this one, right? I think you're talking about this one. If you're talking about this one, it feels solid. If you're talking about this one, looks like you did a good job. But they have a lock bar insert, so don't sand it, just oh shit. Oh, there we go. Don't sand it, just touch the shiny spots. What was he talking about? Take a look. Yeah. I mentioned that before in a video that you can do that if like it depends like on like the severity and a lot of things, but like I've talked about this before too. If you have a lock bar that's not dropping into place, sometimes what'll happen is that's why you're getting lock stick. It's like it's trying to drop into place and it just can't. So it's like kind of like just like hitting, and it's got pressure from the spring of the lock bar hitting and like getting snug in there. And so if you just give it a couple swipes with some sandpaper, you'll actually knock that off, that part that's like really sticking, and it'll drop in. But yeah, it just kind of depends like on the problem, everything. Graphite, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, some permanent marker and graphite. Super Steel Steve did come in here. I heard baby back bitch Mike Elmo is in here. We got everybody in here tonight. Let me see if I can pull it up on this. All right. Oh wait, how about just put the prop? Yeah, how about just put proper lock geometry or carbonize the lock face for sure. And like I said, guys, if you guys have some knives like Striders or doesn't matter, right? Any knife that has lock stick, knife modders will carbonize the lock face for you. And I guarantee they'll do it quick, get you a good price and everything. So, definitely do that, right? Because lock stick will, it's only going to get worse. It's not like you like if it's just snug, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about where you're hurting your finger and it's popping, it's only going to get worse. Name your damn knives, damn Tucson's numbers. Yeah, I know. I wish they would too. What's the knife that has cut you the worst, flipping, sharpening, etc.? I got stabbed in the hand, and I have nerve damage in my finger, so that'd probably be the worst, I guess. That was a Harsey folder. I got cut by the Rockstead. That fucker. And the reason why I got stabbed was because of the Rockstead. Because I was sitting here at the Rockstead. It's actually on video. I dropped it. It had a fresh edge. I had never used it or anything. And those Rocksteads come stupid sharp. And it just dropped. And it just touched me. But it was right on the bone. Cut me all the way down to the bone, right? But it didn't sever a nerve. Cut me down to the bone. Then a few days later, I'm not really able to use this thumb that well. Fucking man. I'm not able to use this thumb that well, and I'm trying to cut this plastic strap on something that was really thick, and my thumb didn't work too well, so I had trouble holding onto the object. And when I cut the strap, and Spartans are thick. So I'm trying to use a thick edge to cut something dense as shit. Hold on a second, man. This fucking thing. Let me see if this will work. There we go. And so I struggled to cut it. So right when it cut it, the strap popped off. The thing kind of fell sideways out of my hand, and it stabbed me right in the same exact, like this far from the cut I already had, and it went so deep it severed a nerve. Now if I all this, I can't feel. I can't feel any of this. Not at all. You can do surgery on me right now. But if I rub right here, I feel it over here. I don't feel it here. So when I touch here, I feel it over here. The nerve grew back different. I also got the same problem in my face from when I got my face all crushed. If I touch in certain spots on my face, I feel it in other places. Like if I touch my lip, I feel it over here and things like that. See you later, Mike. Thanks for coming in. Mine wasn't by a knife. It was a punch down tool, slipped and stabbed right through my hand. That sucks. I've had nails go through my feet, you know, in construction. You walk around, you know, and there's on construction sites, 25 years of walking around a construction site. You're pretty much guaranteed eventually you're going to step on a nail. And yeah, I've had them go through my boot, through my foot. That's a motherfucker. I've also gotten shot by a nail. You know, using a nail gun, mine didn't like directly go through. Mine, I was putting, I think it was a header I was doing. Oh no, maybe it wasn't a header. Anyways, putting two pieces of wood together, shooting it together, and the nail went through and then into my hand. I watched my uncle shoot himself right through the leg. Will carbonizing a lock face help with late lockup at all? No. Talking lock bars with no inserts. No, that would probably be your best bet, is to get a lock bar insert installed if you have late lockup, because the problem is that there's not enough steel there, so it's going all the way past. So what you need is more steel there so that it fits tighter, you know, in the beginning. So lock bar insert, but no, carbonizing won't help that. I've heard stories, and I'm not recommending this. I've never done it, but I've heard stories about people stretching lock bars. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard stories about it. I have the same issue with my hand. Had some jam a piece of fence into my hand. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. I got shot by a potato cannon point blank. Do you guys know what a potato cannon is? A potato cannon is it's a cannon made out of PVC pipe, and you use an accelerant, and you can use whatever to put down the barrel, but you usually use potatoes because they fit perfectly in the hole. You smash them in, and it kind of skins it as it goes in, and you push it all the way down in there. And when you shoot it, I mean, you can shoot them a fucking mile, right? It's a cannon. It's a real cannon. I mean, when they go off, it's like boom, and they just launch. You know, or like if you think about like a mortar, right? Like from fireworks, like how they come out, boom. This is, you know, it has an accelerant. You have a sparker as a trigger, and when you hit the sparker, it ignites the accelerant and shoots it, right? Just like a bullet or a cannon, right? And I was point blank like this, trying to see if the igniter was working, because we were trying to use it all day and it wasn't working. So I figured the igniter wasn't working. And the only way for this particular cannon to see if the igniter was working was to look down the barrel. And I thought the potato had been pushed all the way through and through, like past it, all right? And what, you know, trying to shoot it for 2 hours and it wouldn't ignite. Then boom, as soon as I put my eye on it and went to check it, it went off right in my eye and busted my eyeball, ruptured my eyeball. I was blind for 2 weeks, had seeing problems for months. When I finally got my eyesight back, I only seen the color blue and shapes. Everything was circles. Broke all these bones in my face. And that's why I have nerve damage all through my face. Yeah, you can use hairspray as an accelerant. Just like the first time firing the M203, I laughed straight up and said exactly as I expected. But yeah, it wasn't fun. I actually thought well, at first, when it first hit me, I basically did a backflip, right? I hit the ground and I jumped right back up because, well, when it first hit me, I thought I died. But then once I realized I was alive, people say your life flashes before your eyes. My future, I swear to God, my future flashed before my eyes of me basically being a person for the rest of my life with a mutated face. I didn't think there was, like, in my mind, there was no possible way I had an eye left. It wasn't possible. Like, after that happens, like, I thought this whole part of my face was gone, like literally gone. I couldn't feel it. I had ruptured my eyeball. My eyeball was ruptured. Like I said, I was blind for weeks. It was the most like one of the most painfulest things I've been through. It was pretty bad, pretty severe. And your other eye shows sympathy for the other one, so it wound up making the other one mostly blind too. I think we should lock Steve, Gerald, Mike, and at least one Gerber employee in a room and not let them out until they mutually design a knife. Good luck. Oh, I'm still waiting for fucking Steve to put out some fucking YouTube content. I seen a couple on Instagram. I was loving them, but nothing on YouTube. Nothing on YouTube. And if there was, I missed it. And I wish I didn't, because I'd like to see that. That's an amazing story. No disrespect. None taken. You have the craziest stories, man. Whoever did your surgeries fixed it well. Can tell you spot gun into the face. Technically, the scar on my eye isn't from that. That's from a fucking bottle at a party. Somebody hit me in the face, in the face with a bottle. The one on my eye, that's actually not from the cannon. That's actually from a party, a fight. If so, email. There you go. There's Mike Emler's email. He's also going to be building a couple custom fixed blades if anybody's interested. I think he's doing a couple custom stone fishes. I'm not sure about anything else like his sea snakes or anything, but I know he's doing a couple customs here soon. I don't think he's still in here. Steve likes to drop in, drop some balls, and then drop back out. Thanks, Russ. Steve, you still in here? Sometimes he's usually listening in the background. It takes him a second to answer. Steve, where you at? You have the... Oh, yeah, I read that one. That was for Steve's one. All right, next. So I doubt I don't know. I'm probably going to do this, right? I have, and I know you guys don't want to talk about this, so I'm going to go through it really quick, okay? Because I understand you guys don't want to hear this shit. There we go. I knew they'd be here soon. Lindy Lou. Here we go. This is who I was talking about. Everybody who was talking about lock stick and carbonizing lock faces, get a hold of Lindy Lou and Richie B. Knife modders. They can carbonize your lock faces for you. Here she is right here. She's watching on TV doing laundry. So contact them on Instagram under Knife Modders. They only charge $20 to carbonize. Can you beat that deal? Fuck, you already bought the knife for $500. You already bought your $500 Strider. What's another $20 and some shipping? Good things may happen by caressing the like button. Only one way to find out. Touch it. Just touch it. Just touch it. Just a little bit. Just touch it a little bit. There you guys go. Right there. Bang. Thank you, Fiend. Thank you so much, man. Always on top of this moderator shit, man. How do I order work from you? Right there. Bang. You can go check her. They got a channel. She's got a video on fixing your lock stick, but you can also... Are you talking about me? Or are you talking about Lindy Lou? Because Lindy Lou... Knife Modders on Instagram. Also, if she wants to drop your email in here or whatever, I'm not sure their email, but contact them on Instagram. Some people don't have Instagram though, and in that case, Leave her a comment on her YouTube channel. Does disassembling churros void the warranty? I don't think it does, but I don't really know. So they have a special tool that you can buy. It's like expensive as shit, but it's basically just a thick flathead, so you don't really need one. I don't think so. I never heard of any, there's only a couple companies I heard of avoiding the warranty. However, just be careful because some of them have the ceramic the ceramic balls that are free. Like they're in a washer, usually the ones I've tried are in a washer, but they can fall out. So just be careful. If you're careful, you'll be just fine. What's up? Hawaii Knife and Gears in the house. If you want to use Jared's sharpening service, contact him here. Thank you very much, Fiend. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yes, definitely. If you guys need any sharpening done, you can contact me there or on Instagram. It's the same thing as this. Neevesknives. Neevesknives. Yeah, mine has the multi-roll bearing system, but I'd be over a knife mat. Yeah, well, yeah, as long as you're over a knife mat and you're prepared for it, right? That's the big thing. Some people, like, they'll unscrew the knife and they'll just take it apart like this. That's when they're gonna have problems. As long as it's laying down and you take the scale off, you're not gonna have any issues. You're not. Like, I've taken apart many churros. They're not that bad. It's just when you're not expecting it. And sometimes, like, trying to move the washer from here to here, they'll fall out. What you do is if you have a little tiny, and I'm talking about a smidgen of grease or KPL heavy will work. Put a little KPL heavy on there. The ceramic balls will stick inside the washer. You can move the washers with the balls in there because they are tightly fit. It's when they're dry or they have very thin oil that they'll just fall right out. Needle bearings in a Jeep, same issue. Can you send your private pics? Yeah, there you go. No dick pics. Yeah, where is Lacey? She's late. She's always late. Okay, so me and Ray were talking yesterday, and there's a couple people on TikTok, right? That have some knife channels. Well, there's a lot of you got to be careful with knives on TikTok, right? But some of them have massive followings on there from doing just the regular Instagram stuff. So I'm thinking about starting one on there. They're only 60 seconds long. It'll probably be like knife sharpening or something like that. I don't know if any of you guys are on there, but I think as long as I'm not just like showing and talking about the knife, as long as I'm using it, or if I just open it then set it down, right, it'll be fine. I just can't sit there and hang on to it and talk about it and stuff and flick it open and closed. Yeah, it's kind of sketchy, but somebody that's on there has like 600,000 followers. When on YouTube they only have, not only, but they have like 10,000. That's a big difference. I took apart my ZT0762 and forgot the washer. The bearings run on since I wasn't using a knife mat. Totally split the carbon fiber, putting it back together. Ooh, without the washer. Time to test Kershaw's warranty. Yeah, I've done that though. I've done that where I forgot the washer and I start putting it back together. It's like, why won't this go to centering, right? Or you forget one of the bearings, start putting it back together, and you're like, man, this thing's loose, and you're trying to tighten it. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then you look over and you see the bearing or the washer sitting over there to the side. And you're like, oh, damn it. Yeah, take it all back apart. Today, I put a knife all together. Because the clip normally goes on at the end. Put it all together and realized you have to put the clip on from the inside of the knife. Oh, so upset. Take it back apart. Mindy will be so excited if you do a TikTok. She's nuts about that. I think a lot of people are, and I think a lot of people don't. How can I say this lightly? A lot of people give it a lot of shit, including myself, right? But TikTok is basically the future of Instagram. in a way. That's the reason why Instagram started doing some of the things they do, and the reason why YouTube started doing YouTube shorts was because Instagram got so popular. A lot of people think it's only kids on there. No, there you got construction workers on there, you got politics on there, you got everything you could imagine on there, just like YouTube or Instagram, except every video is summed up in 1 minute. So you might have like the first video, the second video, the third video. If it's 3 minutes of content, they'll just separate it into different videos. But it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, there's a bunch of fucking kids on there fucking dancing and licking their lips and stupid shit. But as long as you don't watch that, that won't be on your feed, right? Your feed will only be filled up with things you actually watch. Obviously, they're going to try to put in some things in there to get you to watch it. I like TikTok now. I definitely see the appeal. Instagram is lame in comparison. Posting pics is fun, but the engagement and algorithm in TikTok is, yeah, that's the thing. It is. When it first started, it wasn't. Now, at this point, now that it's grown, everybody's on there. People got followings. People, they actually have a following and are making money on TikTok. It's gotten pretty good. I enjoy it. I go on there. I don't post. I don't have a channel or a page, but I watch it. I go on there, and listen to shit. Some shit's funny. Sometimes I like to watch things, and sometimes I even just like to hear. Sometimes like they'll sum things up into a perspective. I mean, there's doctors on there, there's lawyers on there, scientists, you name it. Like everything's on there. What's up, Jared? All right, where were we? Okay, so next thing I want to talk about. And this is just really quick. I just want to talk about custom knives really quick. So custom knives. I know a lot of you guys are not into custom knives. Some of you guys are. Some of you guys are not. From my perspective, like with things I nitpick on, certain things, I can be a little bit more forgiving on a custom, right? And not necessarily a custom knife that's done by CNC, but if it's a custom knife done by hand, I personally am a little bit more forgiving because it's a human doing. Hey, quiet. She's loud as shit, man. I know you're in war. All right. But like sharpening choils, doing a plunge grind, when you're grinding it by hand, that's a lot more difficult. There's a lot more variables when you're doing it by hand. There are people out there that are so good, and obviously those are the guys making the big bucks, right? Then there's guys that are so good, but you can get their work like say looking at something like this, some of the South African guys, their work is so good. But, some people's work is, like it's really good, but there's just little details, like say the grinds, right? If they're not perfect, I'm not that upset when it's hand ground. A CNC didn't do it. A person's hand did it. Jeff Jewell once said, though, he said, if I can make an even sharpening bevel, they should be able to do an even grind. And I do kind of agree. Hey, Triple E, thank you, man. Don't forget Super Chat is. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, guys, don't forget Super Chat's open. Where are my donations? No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. But yeah, just when you get into customs, you can be a lot more forgiving on a knife, even though it's more expensive. Sometimes there's exceptions to the rule because, usually we look at it and say, man, for that much money, it better be this. Sometimes there's exceptions to the rule. Oh yeah, I forgot I had this thing over here. So I was originally going to do the BGM knife. This is Talica's knife. I was going to do this review. I started doing it, but then I got somebody else sending me another one. So I'm just going to wait for that one to get here and do them both at the same time so that I can show them both off at the same time. I think that'll be good because it's going to be here like Thursday or Friday. I know you guys didn't give a shit about that, but figured I'd say BGM Knives. Shout out to them. If you guys need some hollow grinds done, regrinds, flat grinds, anything like that, best in the business, man. He does the best sharpening choils. And there we go. There's Talica. And the best hollow grinds I've seen from regrinds. And like I said, I started filming that, and then somebody contacted me and asked me if they could send me their knife to sharpen. They said I could review it. So it's a BGM. So I'm just going to show them both off at the same time, as I think it's good to show off his work, because I'm going to get a regrind done by him, but that's obviously a separate thing. One's his custom knife, the other one's his regrind. So, hey, Jared, does it matter if I use 3-in-1 oil, or should I get better action? Okay, so 3-in-1 oil is great for rubbing your steel down, like say to stop corrosion, to put on your blade, to clean your steel and things like that. But it's not going to be great for the pivot. Will it work? Absolutely, it'll work. But if you want good knife oil, and I mean it literally is better and will make your knife better, you want KPL. KPL heavy and KPL regular. The regular's for the bearings. The heavy is a gel, and it's for the detent. It will make your knife. I've tried all kinds of different oil, and none of them have ever been able to stand up next to KPL. KPL just works better. It's designed specifically for knives, and it doesn't smell. That's another thing. Most knife oil has a smell to it. KPL doesn't. It has like a sweet smell, like a cinnamon, like I don't know. It has like a good smell though. You want to eat this shit. It's not it doesn't just smell like oil. Like, so when you oil your knives, you're not running around with that smell all over. It's not like that. So KPL heavy and KPL regular, get them both. They're like $12 a piece. Something like that. So I gotta admit, I have a serious problem getting the names Tyler and Taylor mixed up. There, I said it. It happens, man. Hey, triple EDC again. Another donation later, guys. I have a trial in the morning in a really tough case. Please send good vibes. Also, KPL is awesome. Really want you. Good luck on the trial, man. Good luck. I'm not even going to ask what you did, but good luck, man. It happens. Stare it? I don't know what that means. All right. So thick grinds. Yeah. Heavy, use it for the detent, and the detent ramp. You can get away if you have the detent done. You don't need really much oil on the bearings itself. A little tiny bit will go a long way, but the detent is like the most important. Hope he's the lawyer. I don't know. I'm not even gonna ask, man. Yesterday I had to get a hold of Ray from Everyday City Carry, because yesterday I was on his podcast. I contacted him today. I said, hey, man, there was something I said in your video. I said, hey, can you cut that shit out? I said, I need you to. I never ask for that. Like, literally, like, I don't ever ask for anybody to edit anything I say. But this time I had to. I was like, listen, I need you to cut that out. Not because of me, because, somebody else. I didn't want to get anybody in trouble or anything. Where are we at? KPL is for regular pivots. KPL heavies for detent, and frog loop for everything else. Talic, can you regrind my Shuro? It'd be BGM Knives is the one who does the regrinds. So I'm gonna say, can he regrind my Shuro into a shell hollow, or there's not enough meat left on a flat? No, he can do it. That's what he does. He can change a flat grind into a hollow or into a thinner flat grind. So what you just have to decide, obviously there's going to be variables, and there might be some that he's going to recommend, like, listen, I recommend you just doing a thinner flat grind. But regardless, a thinner flat grind is always better than a thicker flat grind. Well, not always. I'm not going to say that because we're about to talk about thicker grinds. But making it thinner, it's only going to improve its cutting. So, and technically, between a hollow, I said we were going to talk about hollows and flat grinds. So, the difference between hollows and flat grinds. So, a flat grind, technically, right? If both of them have the optimal geometry, meaning they both have the best kind of geometry, a flat grind is going to cut better than a hollow, technically. I'm talking about like if it's very thin blades, like a kitchen knife, right? Something stupid thin, like a laser. It's going to, because a hollow grind will have a shelf, right? It'll go up and then it'll have a little shelf to get over. However, a lot of times that's not what we see because we see stupid thick blades trying to get down to a thin edge this far, right? This thick of a blade trying to get down to this thin in this far. So then it winds up being a fucking axe, right? So, but when it's done right and it's super thin, you know, like a laser, it's going to cut better. So, but with the hollow, the benefits is that when you sharpen it, it's not going to get thicker. A flat grind will always get thicker. However, I've seen some flat grinds that are so thin behind the edge that you can sharpen them 5 times before they'll ever get thicker. It's because the taper is so fine or so slow, right? It's such a slow taper that it really doesn't get thicker until you really move up the blade. So if a flat grind is done right, it's not going to get thicker behind the edge. Now, with us, we deal with a lot of knives that do get dramatically thicker behind the edge. So in a lot of cases, we want a hollow grind just because we're so used to flat grinds being so stupid thick that it's like, man, just give me a hollow grind. I won't have to worry about it getting thicker. It'll be thinner behind the edge. It'll be thinner going up the blade, better geometry. So it's just in most cases with knives, we wind up seeing hollow grinds have better geometry. Hollow grinds cut better. Hollow grinds sharpen better. Hollow grinds everything better. However, if the flat grind is done right, it's technically better, you know, and it's going to be stronger. You know, a flat grind is always going to be stronger. There's more steel, you know, but it also depends. Because you're going to find a hollow grind that's stupid thick and a flat grind that's stupid thin. And in that case, the hollow grind's better or tougher. Uh-oh. Something just happened. All right, there we go. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Jared intercepted my comment to you. Oh, I'm a dick. Thick thighs and thin grinds. I like it. One thing I love about hollow grind is that the acoustics get so much better. Yeah, that is a thing, right? Where it's like, depending on the grind, you get a different sound from the knife and the way it like, and also the scale material and the thickness and everything, how the clip sits, so many different variables. But yeah, it seems like certain grinds, the way they hit on the stop pin when they land or when they open them up, they just have a ring that comes out of them. And when it rings inside the scales, like when it drops, you can kind of hear it like just ting. Well, depending on the knife, this one tings. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not. My BGM Lanza will be delivered to your door tomorrow. Just check the tracking. Bang! I was just talking about it. I said I'm gonna do this other one and that one together. I think that'll be an awesome video, getting to show them both off because it gets to show some more. Because I want to support BGM. Personally, I like thin blade stock. Me too. Most production flat grinds with standard stock is not thin behind the edge, right? Having a thin stock makes the behind the edge not as relevant. That is so true. And I'm glad you said that. So I'm actually going to talk about that because that's like the case with, say, TRM, right? TRM's not very thin behind the edge, but they cut like a laser. Why do they cut like a laser? Well, because they're thin. They're like 90 thousandths. When they start out really thin, getting down to the edge, you can guarantee, especially if it's a tall grind, you can guarantee it's going to be a slow taper, right? Because remember, good geometry comes from a slow taper. What am I talking about? From the thickness of the spine down, let me go, from the thickness of the spine down to the very tip of the edge. How slow does it go? Now, if it just goes like this, really quick from the spine to the tip, then no, that's bad geometry. But when you start out thin, it's like a kitchen knife. Like, you know, I say like a kitchen knife all the time because that makes sense. It's so thin, it just goes right through everything, regardless if it's thick behind the edge, you know, because it's about the geometry. But we, in the knife community, we see so many thick grinds that thin behind the edge is a lot of times important. But when you have a thin blade stock, it's not. Now, there also is the thing, like say the quiet carry waypoint, where it's a thin grind plus a hollow and it's very thin behind the edge. Yes, this is going to be a major slicer. However, it's not going to be tough at all. So, you know, you got to weigh your options. You know, with like a TRM, you're going to get strength and geometry in something like this. It's like 20 thousandths behind the edge, and then the spine is like 90 thousandths. So, nice tall grind, slow taper down to the edge, but it's also going to be relatively tough. Something like this, it's so thin behind the edge and there's no steel right here. Yes, it's going to cut like a beast, but it's not going to be tough at all. Well, say that. What? Hold on. Oh, that was somebody else. I thought you were talking about me. But my fidget knife right now, you could use for chopping limbs. Knives I carry to actually use are smaller. I love hollow grinds too. I love all grinds, but I like grinds done well. I don't mind if they're thick as long as they make sense. Like if it's going to be a thick grind, I better have good ergos, right? That's my point, right? When I talk about my reviews and I talk about knives in general, if it's going to be a thick grind, then I better have good ergos, because if I'm pushing something thick through anything, I need to have leverage. I need to be able to squeeze it in my hand, right? And have strength pushing it in. And also, why is it that thick? Because it's maybe for light prying and chopping and things like that. Well, and in that case, I need good ergos, right? I need to be able to have a good grip on it and good leverage. So when I see a knife that's super thick, but I just, you know, but it hurts your hand, or you can't get good ergos, or it's only a 3-finger knife, it doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't. A 3-finger knife should never have bad geometry. But so that's why I just advocate for good geometry, hollow, flat, because like I said, I've seen flat grinds that sharpen very similar to like a hollow, where they don't get thicker, you know. But usually I like a hollow more than a flat because of the reasons I said. My favorite EDC is about 8 inches and about 4 ounces. Yeah, I'm right around that area too, 7.5 to 8.5. You know, but I can go a little bit bigger or a little bit shorter, but that's a good mid range. You psychic. I welded on my own CME to my pair of 3. From a lefty perspective, it's so much better now. After I cut with my native chief, I just don't want to use. Yeah, that does happen where you find a knife that just cuts so good. You don't find, like, when you look at your knives on wherever you have them, you're thinking about what you're going to be cutting, and it just seems like there's that one knife that does everything good. You know, it's like that thing will work. It'll work on whatever. And I've had a lot of knives like that. Ergos and detents are everything for me. Facts. Definitely. And like I say, with detents, you guys can tune your own detents. Don't be, I don't want to say this and have you guys fuck your shit up, but don't be scared to take a cheaper knife that you have and tune the detent. Strengthen it, weaken it, you know, whatever. Like it's pretty easy. It really is. Be careful. The little does a lot. That's another thing you just got to know. If you know a little does a lot, then you won't be like raw and just bend your lock bar, right? You'll do it very slow and then put it back together and check it. You know, and if you do it like that, you'll tune your D10 so much better. So much better. Someone's funny. Evening. What's up, Paper Tiger? My DLT Mannix and 20 CV is my favorite all around everything knife. Mannixes are the shit. They're hard to beat. In my opinion, they are hard to beat. They have good ergos. There's so many different kinds, so many different steels. They have lightweight versions. You can get so many different mods to it. You can get even new cages. They cut good. They have decent geometry. Plus, they're a full flat grind. The blade shape is great. It's a lot of people look like I had somebody the other day. They said to me, they said, I see everybody talking about Spyderco. He's like, and I see the big hole in it. He's like, I just don't get it. He's like, I don't get what the big deal is with the hole. He's like, doesn't that make the blade weaker? And I said, well, first of all, I said the hole is made for easy deployment. And I said, until you've tried one, you can't really knock it. And I said, but a Spyderco is technically made around a hand. It's supposed to be a functional tool first. The looks were never in the design, right? That's the way I heard it, was that the looks were never part of the design. It was all about function, right? How does it feel in the hand? How does it work? How does it cut? What's the best blade shape? So on and so forth. And when you think about that, then it makes you understand it a little bit better. And when you actually get it in hand, or, you know, like a pair 3 PM2 Mannix, when you get them in hand, a Delica, you know, when you get them in hand and actually use them, then you realize, like, damn, this thing works great. It's like a great blade shape for everything. They work in the hand. They're, you know, if you like to fidget, they're fidgety. But the hole being a weak point, right? Because that's what I always thought. I literally would look at the Spyderco and be like, why the fuck? I'm trying to prevent holes, right? I'm trying to prevent damage on my knife. Why would I buy a knife with a hole? But like I said to somebody the other day that said, when they were looking at the riffle, they said the riffle sounds awesome, but they said, but isn't that a weak point, right? Can it break? And I said, yeah, of course it's a weak point. Of course, yeah. Of course, yes, it's a weak point. Yes, it will break. If you're fucking spine whacking it through oak wood, yes, it's going to break. Don't do that, right? Let's actually break it down. It's a blade that's 120 thousandths thick, 15 thousandths behind the edge, and it's a liner lock. The blade is only 120 thousandths thick, so how thick can the liner be? Not thick at all. So that already tells you it's a light duty EDC. It's not for chopping. It's not for prying. It's not for batoning. It's for cutting. It's a tool for cutting. So why are you spine whacking it? Because that's the only reason why it would fail. It's not going to fail under any other way unless if you're spine whacking it. Let's say you absolutely had to spine whack it. Like, say if you had to cut a wire or a rope, whatever, rubber tubing, use the front end of the blade. So you take and put this part on the thing and then hit this part. Don't wedge it right here and hit this, right? Hit it with the front, because then you're not going to be damaging your lock, you know, because the more you hit it right here, you're going to damage the lock if it's a liner lock. If you put if you put it on the material like this, right on the front, and then just hit the tip, you're not going to hurt the lock. The land is amazing. Absolutely. I love the land. 88 people watching. You guys are amazing, man. You guys are awesome. 90 people in this bitch. Oh, I love it. What do you think about skiff bearings? I shout out Gillian's bearings. So I think they're pretty much the same, but the one thing is those Gillian uses the white ceramic balls, which are technically 1 grade slicker than the black ones, because there's different grades of slickness, and the white ones are that much slicker. He does the salt and pepper ones, which are white and black. So it goes white, black, white, black, white, black. So technically those would be slicker, and they're hand flattened. They're custom made in the USA, just like skiff bearings. They are a little bit more expensive though. Like maybe even a lot, like double the price. I think the skiffs are like $12. His are like $24. So, but I shout his out. He's always supported me, even when I was a little channel. He sent me a custom knife to check out. He sent me bearings. He's been awesome. I don't know skiff. I'm sure his bearings are great. I have tried them. But yeah, I would recommend Gillian's. Oh man, that sucks. It's happened to me. I know what it feels like, man. And it's like they know exactly, like I've tried to say a sentence and even rephrase it differently, right? And they still knew what I was trying to say, even though it didn't sound bad. But YouTube's messed up, man. They got their algorithm with their bots are crazy, man. What's up, man? Just popping in before bed. Have a good one. Peace out, man. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, you should definitely try it. That, the Deviant, the October, and the Land. Oh, wait. And the Beg Letter too. I don't care if it's the mini or the big one. Both of them are great. Those 4 knives are the shit. That's all I'm going to say. I love the Deviant. I love the Land. I love the October. Oh, wait. I didn't get the sheepdog too. Okay, so the sheepdog with the hole is also on that list, but I haven't gotten mine yet. I got the mini, but that's a badass one. Hey, Jared. Kay here. Need your help with some scale swaps. Yeah, get a hold of me on Instagram if you can, or through email, and yeah, we'll get that done. Yeah, true, Todd. I'm glad you said that. So when you baton with a locking knife that's a liner lock specifically, you can unlock it and then do it. So if I'm gonna spine whack this thing, right? So what I'll do is I'll put the blade on the thing I'm cutting, unlock it like this, right? Then spine whack it, because now you're not hurting your lock face. And then after it goes through, lock it up, bring it back, do the same thing, or whatever. That's the way you spine whack a liner lock. Is you don't. It's stupid to spine whack it locked up. Love the sheepdog with the whole, man. I can't wait till he gets here, man. I'm really excited about that one. I know that one's gonna be great. Thumb hole sheepdog for the win. My order full. That's what I'm waiting for, is the full size one. It's a good knife. But I'll tell you what, man, that Deviant is fire. Fire. The October's fire, the Beg Lighter's fire, and the Land. All of them, man. Kizer came out swinging this year. Swinging. Other companies have too, so I'm not just giving all credit to them, but Kizer's killing it, man. They really are. And like I was talking about earlier with their heat treat on their 20 CV and M390, I'm impressed. Okay, because I'll tell you what, for the price, I was a little nervous. It was surprising, and I paid for those, by the way. They didn't send them to me, so I know I'm going to have people in the comments saying, "Oh, well, they sent those to you, so they probably picked a good one." I bought those. I bought the M390 and the 20 CV versions. They had nothing to do with it, so it was completely random. YouTube, please cease to act like okay. Wait. Cans and let a person speak. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. They got me at Lefty's podcast. I tried saying something about balls and nuts, and they wouldn't let me. And then I switched it around. I changed it around. I even said it like in the most professional way possible, but you would get what I'm saying. They still knew what I was saying. It was crazy. Anyone know where the full size thumb hole sheepdogs are in stock? Mojave Outdoors. And then use my 10% discount code Neevesknives. Mojave Outdoors, 10% discount code Neevesknives. Neevesknives. Do you think my Shuro FN9 5R can be successfully reground into a hollow and keep the integrity strong? So it won't be as strong. No, that's not possible. The question is it going to be strong enough for what you're going to do with it? And I say yes, because I think personally, even if you thinned it out into just a flat grind, like kind of like this, right? Where it's thin, right? Even if you did that, that's still going to give you far better geometry. And it's going to be plenty strong. Look at these, right? Look at these. These are tough as fuck. And they're 90 thousandths thick. If you want a hollow for sure, he can probably do it. And he'll probably do it really good, nice and thin. But yeah, it's not going to be as tough. I mean, it's just, there we go. Mojave Outdoors. Bang. But, but yes, it will cut better. It will sharpen better. And he can add one of those fire-ass sharpening choils he does. The best sharpening choils around. Yeah. And because that's the one problem I have with churros is their sharpening choils. Or not the, sorry, the plunge grinds. Their plunge grinds suck. But BGM does the best plunge grinds. Like, he's got plunge grinds figured out. Even if you do make fun of my name, yeah, Kizer's new models are rocking. Mojave is taking great care of me. Awesome. Awesome, Carrie. Awesome. Oh, Mojave sold out. I already looked. Okay. Did you check their eBay site? Because they have 3 sites. They have Mojave Outdoors and Gear, Mojave Outdoors on Amazon, and then they have their eBay site. If you check the links in my videos, there's 3 different sites. Check them all. And if they don't have them, I can find out when they'll have a restock, because they'll have a restock really soon. They already know those things are going to sell, so they're ready to bring them back, as far as I know. I love the RJ Martin hollow on Russian Overkill. I don't care much about toughness. Won't be hard use ever. Right. And that's the point. Like, I think in the past, mostly in the past, we wanted a level of toughness because there was something beastly about a tool that could take anything, right? It's like it's like a folding fixed blade, right? That's what it is. It's a folding fixed blade. But then we realized, like, that winds up being a problem. It's like, it's a problem. It doesn't cut good. It's, it's heavier. It's so many things. And you don't do any of those things, right? It's like, you don't take your knife out of your pocket and pry 2x4s, right? You wind up grabbing your hammer or your pry bar to do that. Like, there's just, you don't chop bones of animals with it, right? You wind up grabbing your chopper, your fixed blade for that. When you wind up having the appropriate tools for the job, you wind up learning how dumb it is. Not even dumb, but just how it winds up making it worse. Like, because think about this, right? You want the appropriate tools for the job, right? Well, where the fuck is your slicer? If you got your fixed blade, you got your axe, you got your pry bar, you got your hammer, right? You got your utility blade. Where is your slicer? That should be your EDC folding knife. Not saying that there's not some out there that need to be tough, like Hinders and Chris Reeves and shit like that. Of course, there needs to be the happy medium, the all-terrain knife, right? The knife that's a good cutter, yet also good at being a harder on, right? Of course. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't have mega slicers too, because that's 90% of what you're doing. Save the all-terrain knife for those special occasions when you need to be tough on a knife. Cue ball with the 5-piece. Thank you, brother. I believe I speak for all of us here. You are one of the best knife channels. Oh, man, I'm blushing. Thank you, man. We all want you to go far. My gift, TS177. Oh, dude, that's amazing. That's amazing, man. I appreciate that. Man, dude, that's awesome, man. Oh, thank you. I didn't really tell this story, but no, I loaned it out to somebody with a bunch of knives. I loaned out, and shit happens, right? Shit happens, and he lost my knives. Long story short, he lost my knives, and so I never got it back, and I've wanted to get it back ever since. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And somebody asked me, because I think I mentioned it, and somebody asked me, have you ever loaned a knife out since? hundreds since then. It didn't stop me from loaning knives out. I understand things happen. I'm still friends with the guy. We're really good friends. There's no hard feelings. There's nothing like that. Shit does happen. So, and you know, it wasn't like, I know it wasn't out of spite. It wasn't nothing bad. Like, he wasn't trying to do anything intentional. He wasn't trying to keep the knives from me or anything. Like, it's nothing like that. I know the guy, you know, through the channel and everything, but he's not like that. And mistakes happen, right? But it doesn't stop the fact that I did lose 4 of my favorite 2 sons. But you know, hey, you know, knives are replaceable. Friends aren't. And thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. I almost want to pull it out. We wanted thicker blades because the steel, what? That's true, Todd. Oh my God. We wanted thicker blades because the steel was done so crappy. We needed the extra steel to make sure it didn't snap in two when the wind was too strong. Well said, because I find that a lot of knives, like especially the older ones, you know, that are thicker, they have the worst heat treats. They're so bad. And I bet you that's a lot to do with what it was that either their heat treats were so I'm not going to say even soft or hard. I think they were just so inconsistent. They didn't know, right? Like, that, if it's going to be hard or is it going to be soft? Is it going to be good or is it going to be bad? Let's make it thick. Just make it thick and it'll be strong. Because there is a certain point to where if you make something super thick, it's going to be strong no matter what. It's going to be tough, right? It's like, you know, it's so thick that it has to be tough. It has to be strong. When that's not the way it's supposed to be. The way it's supposed to be is that this steel, say X steel, is super tough and super strong, and that's why we can grind it so good. That's why we can grind it so thin. So now you're not only going to have a thin knife that slices really good, it's a tough steel, which winds up making up for the slicing performance. Do you know what I mean? Because if you have really good slicing performance, your toughness goes down. But if your steel is really tough, it goes back up. So now you're kind of evening it out. but yeah, a long time ago, nobody was holding them accountable, right? They didn't want blade snapping left and right. So instead of dealing with blade snapping left and right, make them thick. They'll never break them. Oh, well, wife is hollering at me to eat. Have a great peace out, Russ. Thank you, man. Thank you for always commenting and hanging out and coming to the lives, man. We love you, man. Thank you. We don't understand loss like Hawaii Knife and Gear's experience. I know he has. I'll be honest though. You know, I know he say it, and I feel bad for him. I've went through the same thing, man. I've had my knife collection stolen once, or actually twice, but one was a really bad one because it was all it was knives I couldn't replace, right? Like the two sons, replaceable, right? I'm talking about like hand me down knives from my grandpa, from my dad, like family heirlooms. And they got stolen. And then I also was put in a position one time. I built my collection back up. I had a really nice collection, and I had a lot of knives too. And some of them were worth a lot of money. Some of them were like custom fixed blades and stuff. And I wasn't in the knife community or anything like that. I just loved knives. And I got put in a position where it was either home or like shelter or eating versus my knives. And I had gotten down to a point to where I didn't have much left, and the only thing I had left was my knives to sell. I wound up having to sell my knives to survive, basically. But you know, life does happen. But the stolen ones hurt me way more, right? But it wasn't easy to sell those knives, and you feel like you regret it, right? Like, I regret it so much. But I know the reality of where are you going to put these knives when you don't even have no place to stay? All right. Where are you going to put these knives when you ain't even got nothing to eat? Like, you know, you got to put things in perspective. You can't eat your knives. What's up, Lacey? We were talking about you earlier. You finally dropped in. You're fucking late. Stupid YouTube didn't alert me to the live, and I was watching shark shows. It's all good. But yeah, man, that's why I felt so bad when Hawaii had that happen to him, man. I know how it feels, man. I've been there. It sucks, man. It's painful. Let me talk. I'm going to talk about one of the knives I lost from the stolen knives, because this one was really special to me. And I had a lot of them that were really special, but this one was specifically special because it was made by a Native American. And it did have carbon steel made with carbon steel, but the rest of it was all handmade. So the handle was made out of a bone from a wolf's leg, like a leg bone. Then in the end of it, it had a real pearl put in the bone. Then the guard before the blade was an antler, was a piece of an antler, and then it had the carbon blade. Then the sheath was all leather made out of rabbit skin, and then when you put it in the sheath, like if you put it in the sheath, you know, sometimes there's a piece that sits up right here. That was the rabbit fur, so you could wrap the handle with rabbit fur. Then they were tied these leather strings, and there were wolf teeth hanging from it. That thing was so special to me. My uncle got it for me for my birthday, and I loved it. Like, that was something very special to me, but I can't never replace that. And then I had some other custom knives my dad had gotten when I was young and gave to me. You know, like some of them were handmade from his friends, from people that are not alive anymore. Some of them were just random, you know, badass fixed blades, and I don't even know the brand name, because like they were, and I know today, knowing what I know about knives, they were done extremely well. But one of them had a polished blade, and it had a sick wooden handle. Don't know the name, anything like that. But I remember my dad would talk about how good the heat treat was done and how good the steel was and everything. But yeah, man. It's Shark Week. Was it a friend? No, no. Well, okay. So like I said, I had it done twice to me. So one time it was a family acquaintance. Another time, no. Another time, no. It was just random, right? But yes, one time it was a family acquaintance, and yeah, I went after them. I wound up recovering a few of them, but not a couple of them that I cared about. But that was it. There was nothing. The rest of them got basically destroyed, given out, sold, like. And but I did recover, I think, like 3 or 4 when I caught up to them. But yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. My dad handed me a knife when I was 5. My grandma freaked out because I had this big, like, it wasn't a buck 110, but it looked like a buck 110, just bigger. And the back lock was so strong I couldn't even open it. Like, I'd pry it open, and then to close it, I'd have to push the lock against something and fold it because it was just so strong. And my grandma freaked out. And because I had this big ass knife in my pocket at 5 years old, and she started freaking out. And my dad said, "Hey, you leave him alone. He can fucking have whatever knife he wants in his pockets." So I was walking around with big ass knives when I was a kid, like big fucking knives. Hope you feel better soon, Knife Sergeant. Yeah, Knife Sergeant, I hope you feel better, buddy. Hopefully you're getting better now, man. Jared, did you beat his ass? Yeah, you could say that. No, and that's something that always hurts, especially every time you think about it. Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of things like that. I try to look at it into a better like a different perspective, because the some life's like that, right? Life's fucking that's life, right? So yeah, there's so many sentimental things, and to be honest, like the most sentimental things in my life I've lost, hands down. Can't replace them. And I'm talking about like right now, I haven't even mentioned some of the things. I'm talking about like real sentimental things. And like, you know, I could cry thinking about it, but you know, it's life, and that's not the important part. The important part's the memories, right? That I think that's the most important part, is having the memory of it, or the memory of what that thing represented. I had 2 custom pool cues stolen. Sucks. I used to know a guy that had a custom pool cue. It was like $1,000, and he used to walk around with that thing everywhere. He was always talking about it. He played a lot of pool, but I think every time I hear custom pool cue, I think about him, because he loved his custom pool cue. It was kind of like us with the knives, you know, like how we pull out a knife and we show somebody. He'd fucking pull his pool cue out. All right. So, you know, I tore apart that knife, right? I don't know if you guys seen it, and I do feel bad. You know, I know somebody made a comment in the comments saying, you know, you could hear that I felt bad tearing apart that knife, but you know, it is what it is. I'm calling it as I see it, but I do feel bad because like I've talked to that person's friend, right? I haven't talked to them personally, but I talked to somebody that knows them, and like was asking me if I want to check out more of their knives and things like that, and was asking me if I'd put links in. I didn't wind up putting any links in. I didn't think if I'm not going to recommend it, I'm not going to put a link in for it, right? So I feel bad, right? Because when I talked to him, I told him, yeah, you know, I'll put a link in. This was before I tested it, tried it, or anything like that. Yes, I bought those, but he was like basically saying like that, oh, well, when he comes out with new ones or whatever, new models, he can send them to you, or I can get him to send them to you and all that stuff. So I was very cordial with the you know, the friend of the owner of the company or whatever. So when it winds up boiling down, and then I'm tearing the knife to pieces, basically, you know, and talking a lot of crap, I do feel bad, right? I feel bad, but it is what it is, you know, like take it for what it's worth. Hopefully it helps you. Hopefully it helps the company. You know, I can't say like just because we were talking and friends that now I'm gonna make something seem better than it is. But yeah, I feel bad, right? You know, I'm human. It's not going to stop me from being honest, though. Some knives need torn or new offers. How else are bad knives going to disappear from the market? Absolutely, for sure, right? How are we supposed to see good products? Because think about it. If we didn't, do you think we'd see any good ones? No. If it wasn't for the knife community, do you? Every knife would be a fucking CRKT or a Gerber. Literally, every knife. What's that one Gerber? The Gerber paraframe? That's what every knife would be if we didn't have the knife community to call it out. Every knife would literally have the worst heat treat ever if we didn't have the knife community calling it out and people testing the steels and everything. You can be guaranteed every like half the companies wouldn't even have the real steel. They would tell you you're getting D2 and it's really 5 CR. It's the knife community that keeps the knife companies honest. So you know, I feel like that's my position, right? That's my responsibility. Yeah, right. And you know, and I try to do that. I've had some companies, right? And I've talked about this kind of that. Not, you know, I'm not even talking about the ones that get upset. I'm talking about before I ever even check out the product, and they're already trying to tell me what they want. Like, what? That's not how this works. You send me the product, and if I like it, I'll do a review on it. I will promise you a review. That's what I'll promise you. You send me the product, you'll get a review. But trust me when I say that you don't want me to promise you 5 of them. Do you know what I mean? Because if I shit on it by the 5th video, you won't sell another knife. Like, think about it, right? Like, that's stupid. So basically, if I review it and it winds up being shit, that's all I'll say about it, right? I won't keep making videos on it. Hopefully for you, right? Hopefully for your sake. But if a company's like trying to get me to make deals with them and stuff, I don't want nothing to do with, like, I just tell them straight up, like, no, that's not how this works. The way it works is you send me a product. If I like it, it'll end up on Instagram. If I like it, it'll end up in the top 5. If I like it, it'll end up in another video. You know, like, I'm not gonna promise you anything other than one review, and then if I like it, it'll wind up other places. Because if I don't like it, I'm not going to go put it on Instagram and on my store, because this is the way they'll be like, we'd like to get 1 video here and 3 posts on Instagram and 1 post on your story. Go fuck yourself. You know, like, come on, man. Like, I'm not doing that. And if I did, like, I'm gonna be if it's something's wrong, you're not gonna want that. Like, sometimes they don't think about that. And I've had a bunch of companies do that, and I've just had to set them straight. Like, this is the way it goes. But I understand from a company's perspective. I do. I get it. They're trying to sell a product, and they're sending you something, right? So that's money from their business. They want that to act, because think about it. There are people out there that do get a product and don't do anything with it. They don't do nothing. Like, and I don't mean like they don't do nothing. What I mean is that they get it, and then they might not advertise it or something like that, which they might not. They might should have not have, right? Because you're sending them a product without a deal. Because and that's basically what I'm saying. I'm saying they send them a product and then they don't make a deal. So then they don't know what to expect, and they expect something that they didn't agree on. So, and I get that, you know, but that's your own fault for fucking sending a product and not talking to the person. Talk to the person. If you talk to the person, then you guys can set up a deal on what you want. But you don't get to, to make the terms, right? It's like, think about it. Like, how much money is it? Like, is the product worth, like, and it's not like you're getting cash for it. Like, if I get a knife, yeah, I could sell it, right? I could sell the knife. But the video and the content, how much money, that's not making much. Like, not worth the time, technically. What I'm investing in right now is the future of the channel. So that's because they hope you care more about getting money from them. Yes, they do. And they think that that's actually a thing, right? And that's why you got to kind of set them straight. Like, this product doesn't mean nothing to me. Sometimes they think it does. Sometimes they think they have leverage with that product, and you need to make them realize, like, I give a shit less about this product. Like, I mean, I do like the product. I'd love to work with you, but not enough for my integrity. Like, the videos aren't making enough money to hurt your integrity. So, even in the long term, if I make 10 videos, right, and they, all 10 videos make, whatever money, it's still not enough for that. Even if I sold the knife, it's not. So, we value your thoughts. Please go to Amazon and leave a nice review. We will send you a free beard trimmer. Yeah, I'm actually getting one. not for that though. I actually had them contact me and ask me if I wanted a free beard trimmer. And I thought about it, and I said I could use a free beard trimmer. I needed one of those anyways. No, I'm joking. But no, I'm not really joking. I do need one. But it is a thing I could still film, right? And do a review on. If I like it, I'll say it. If it's a good product, I'll say it. They're not asking me for anything else, right? They're just asking me to check it out, give them an honest opinion on it, and show it in a video. No problem, right? And if it's junk, then that's what I'm going to say about it. So it looks good though. I mean, so sometimes you can kind of see things. Not always though. Not always, but sometimes you can. But we'll see. Sometimes you see things that look good and then you get them and you realize how crappy they really were. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, okay, so everybody knows what product that's built very well looks like. But then there's those imitation products that have the same look as that material, but they're not. Right? Like say something that looks like stainless steel, but then you get it and it's plastic that looks like stainless steel. So there are those. And when you get those, you know right away, like, motherfucker, no wonder why this cost $10 on Amazon. Sometimes you get what you pay for, right? I don't see many knife channels that push a product for a company. Well, we are though. Oh, I see what you mean, but they are. They are. We all are. Us reviewing a knife is pushing a product for that company. Anytime, no matter what. Not saying we're pushing a product, meaning they asked us. But sometimes they are. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised because, okay, let me put it this way. And I'm not trying to like call anybody out or like out anybody. Like, just, I think this is just reality and this is common sense. If you have a reviewer that reviews knives and talks great about every product, that those companies are going to want him to check out their product because he's going to say something nice and good about their product regardless. Do you know what I mean? So if that person has a good following, his people believe him, yada, yada, yada. So those companies will be like, hey, you want to check out my product? Because they already know you ain't going to say nothing bad about it. So it's a win-win for them, right? Then they can actually take a clip from your video, put it on their Instagram, put it on their feed, put it on their Google. Usually they'll ask for that, but sometimes they don't. I've literally had companies do that and not ask me, but usually they do. But you're advertising it for them. You're checking out their product. You're talking about it, saying how cool it is, saying this and that. So no matter what, you're always doing it's a product. So while someone's selling a Shiro Gorov Kami collab on eBay for like $900, which I know is a bid and will go up, but that's still decent so far. Yeah, what you want to do is just wait it out to the last couple minutes, and then if it's still there, then start bidding. You don't want to start bidding it up until it's almost over, because that means that other people can see it and start bidding you up. But if you just let it slide till the very end, till right before it ends, you can sometimes jump in there and swipe it up. Me and Cue Ball were talking about that yesterday. Where'd that go? Can someone link Big Red EDC raffle for Grateful Panic's GoFundMe? Can somebody possibly do it? Fiend, can you possibly handle that? Big Red's raffle for Grateful Panic's GoFundMe. I know last week we did it. Here's Fiend right here. Technically, any exposure for a product can drive its sales numbers. Yeah, absolutely. Just like if you say something bad, it's the same thing. It does reverse happen. And I want to always say something good about a product. I do. But the fact is if I don't say anything bad, then my word isn't worth shit. So it does take the bad products to understand what the good products are. And can you trust somebody who never says, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't. I don't trust people if they can't. I can see things, right? I'm not blind. So I can see things that are issues. It's not hard. Sometimes you need it in hand to tell. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you don't. And sometimes you can see it clear as day. So, and when people actually know what they're talking about, it's kind of like this. I listened to this guy online. He makes products. He actually makes products like pre-workouts and stuff. Well, he reviews other companies' pre-workouts. Well, he's got a great reputation for being honest, bringing good products, and telling you about the products. Like, meaning, like, he'll break down the ingredients, say, like in a pre-workout, he'll break down the ingredients and tell you what studies show on this ingredient, how much you need, how much it actually works, and tell you. And so when he makes his product, he makes the best product he can possibly bring to the market. And he holds that true. Like, and other products, though, are just fillers. Like, they don't give a shit about you. They just want to sell a product. So they'll have 1,000 YouTubers review their product or sponsor them and say, hey, go buy this, blah, 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 right? And never read the ingredients or know anything about the ingredients. So he'll take them and he'll break them down and he'll show you, like, this, like it'll be like, okay, this thing in this pre-workout, right? Yes, it does give you energy, but studies have shown that it only works above 5,000 milligrams or something, right? And it doesn't, and then, but they only put 3 milligrams in here. So they basically slapped you in the face by putting this product in there because it does absolutely nothing at this amount. Then they'll show you, okay, and then they put this product in there, and this product technically doesn't even work. You need this other one because this one's been proven to not actually work. And you need this other one, which is actually, just as affordable as that one. And you need this amount. And, studies show that you need, X amount of milligrams. Like, he breaks it all down and he just tears companies apart and shows you how fake they are, how fucking fake they are, and how companies are making these products and giving them to these channels to push for them, and they're not even good. Like, and it's not even like they're almost good. Like, they're horrible. They're literally nothing. And they just literally put a whole bunch of ingredients in there because you don't know what those ingredients are. You don't know what they mean. You don't know what they are. And you'll hear somebody say, oh, L-trazoline or something. I'm just naming words, but like, oh, it's good for energy. And it's like, yeah, but you need fucking 50 milligrams of it for it to even start to work, right? Or this thing, right? Like, yeah, it does give you energy, but it actually doesn't pass the blood, like or like through your stomach or something. Like, it only works through the bloodstream or something. So they're lying to you. And he basically shows all that shit, and you'd be surprised how many products are out there just fucking people over left and right. I mean, I guess you guys wouldn't be surprised. You guys know. I want to be an Olight shill. It's hard to find a reputable company today. Right. That's why I think it's good to find a reputable person that understands how to dissect the product. That's why I like that guy. That guy, he's got his own he's got his own clinic and things like that. And then he does like pre-workouts and protein shakes and things like that. He's like a workout dude. But I like him because of how, like, I won't even be interested in the thing he's talking about, but I'm interested just because it fascinates me how much he knows about these products and how much he can teach you. I have to deal with FDA and USDA regulations daily, and I can tell you vitamins and premixes are mostly bullshit. Right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what I'm saying. Like, 99% of them are bullshit. Because it's literally, they're just putting fillers in there, and there are things that do work, and there are things that are great in a pre-workout, with a certain amount, and there's certain things that work, and the other things are always just fillers. So a lot of times you don't even need this long list of shit. So it just depends. There's parts made in the USA 1940 for $13 still working today, but a new part for $500 today, and it doesn't work out of the box. Facts. Well, kind of like who was it? Was it Chris Rock who said this? He said, we can put a man on the moon and send a rocket to space to the moon, but you can't keep my fucking bumper from falling off my Cadillac. I thought that was funny as hell when I heard that. I think that was Chris Rock who said that joke. How many knife reviewers are out there who don't use knives? That's what I find so funny. Yeah. I mean, there is a level, right, of which they do use their knives, right? Like I can cut a bag of chips and use my knife, right? Um Sometimes it's, are you, when you're reviewing the knife, and a lot of times people can't, if they're reviewing so many knives, there's no way they can use them all, right? They don't have enough stuff to fucking cut. I'm lucky enough that I work in a factory where I use my knife during the day, and I also break down stuff here, and some stuff I bring home from the factory and I do cut that I don't necessarily have to cut, but I do it for the videos, right? Just to show in the video. But I also sharpen. I try to test things. I try to do different things. And I understand not everybody can do that. You know, I don't blame anybody for that. But yeah, there are some times where it's like that knife, the review would only be good if you can tell me how good it is as a tool. Do you know what I mean? Like there's certain tools. And then some people would say, it's a knife, man. It's going to cut. It's a knife. It's going to cut. It's like, yeah, but how is it going to sharpen and live for the next year if you're buying it as a user? Because sometimes I think that's the most important part. Like, okay, yeah, it might cut, but how good does it cut? How good does it hold up? How does the heat tree feel? How good does it sharpen? And will it live through sharpening? Like without getting worse, basically, I'm saying. And I think that's very important, especially for a tool. I mean, because knives, we take life away when we use them. That's kind of the point, I think, with my channel, or with a lot of things with my channel. When you use your knife, you take life away. How does that knife age? Right? You like kind of like people or anything, right? Some people age faster, some people age slower, you know, just like cars, right? If you fucking go 100 miles an hour every day, you know, whipping turns and sliding around corners and slamming on the brakes and flooring it off the line, the life of your car is not going to, you know, it's not going to age well, right? It's just not going to age well. We're not bashing it. I love MC. We're not bashing MC. MC's great. He does a lot. Come on, man. MC's great. He has great videos, and man, you can't deny his work, man. He's put in a lot of work, and he's got a lot of followers, man. People love him. So, man, more power to him, man. I love that he's growing so fast. I could only hope I grow that fast. Some people I know do get on it because I find that he does talk about knives. There are things he doesn't like, right? I've seen him do that. He does do that. He says, "Oh, well, I don't really like this, or I prefer this. You know, I don't like T6s, yada yada." So he does critique it a little bit. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, I love the guy. I don't want to say anything bad about him. I love the guy, and I honestly think he does have one of the best knife channels out here. He's doing it great. He's very, you know what it is about him? He's passionate. He's passionate about the knives. Some people say he fakes it. I don't think so. I think he loves this shit. I think he loves it. I think he loves the community. And I know, like, from maybe some people's perspective, they might look at it that I don't know. I'm not going to get into that because then it'll make it sound like I'm talking shit. I'm not doing that. Metal Complex is better than Slicey Dicey. They're probably both in here watching. I should just start talking shit about both of them. Fuck both of them. No, I like them both. I ain't got no problem with either one of them. We're fucking knife content creators. We got to be friends. Not saying it like that, like we have to. That's why I am. I watch both their channels. I don't watch knife content as much as I used to. Like, there's certain people I watch no matter what because I find them entertaining. But I try not to because you don't want to be influenced by them, for one. And two, I like to leave the mystery. You know, like I might watch a review on that knife. If I watch 100 reviews on that knife, unless if I really love it, then I'll watch like 3 or 4. But I want to leave it a little bit of a mystery, so when I get it, I can give you guys an honest review. Sometimes it hurts you a little bit when you see like 5 other reviewers saying such great things, and then you get it and you're like, this thing's a piece of shit. You feel bad because you're like, man, I'm gonna make them look bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I review something, they could look bad if I bash it and they were speaking like so highly of it. So I feel like if I've never seen it, then I won't, I won't know the difference. No, he isn't. What the fuck? Oh, I don't watch as much knife content as I used to. I mainly go to live streams these days or watch knife podcasts. Yeah. I do the same thing. I do watch a couple, though. There are a couple channels I watch. But you're also working on knives. So sometimes like before, I couldn't get enough. I was always watching every single video I possibly could. And I still watch a lot, but I'm working a lot. Like, you guys got to think, man, I'm working a lot. And a lot of it's working on knives and knife content. So it's not easy for me to sit there and just watch everything. It's not possible. Lefty has the best disassembly videos if you ever want to watch him struggle for an hour. Yeah. Usable life is why I like hollow grind so much. By the time I even out the bevels and drop the angle, a lot of flat grinds get a really thick bevel and sharpening becomes a chore. Yeah, that's true. And that's basically what I was talking about. Like, that's why they wind up being so popular, because people want to lay back the angles. People want to be able to do that. And people don't want to have to cut into their choil just because they want a 17-degree angle, right? And if you chip your edge, you have to remove steel. You can chip your edge from dropping your knife. You can chip your edge from hitting a staple. You're more than likely to chip your edge. So if you have to remove steel, who the fuck wants to make their edge 10 thousandths thicker behind the edge just because they chipped it? Nobody. Especially if you pay big money for it. Knife Modders just recently did a Spidey chef with the Spyderco symbol in their anno work, that colorful anno work. It looks badass. I don't know how they did it, but it looks good. I mean, I can guess, but it looks pretty good. Soap Boy Lefty EDC has the best assembly videos and men's skincare product reviews. That's hilarious. Okay. I guess we're way past story time. We usually cut it out right about now, but I'm going to tell a story. Okay. I'm going to tell a quick story. It won't be long. I'll make it quick. We have 85 people in here. So yesterday was technically the D-Day of my brother, my best friend, that died in my arms. Okay. And, so he died, years ago, and yesterday would have been the date. All right. So I'm going to tell a story about him when we were kids. Okay. So I think I told this story once before, but it was a long time ago. So I know most of you probably didn't hear it. Okay. So we used to hunt basically every weekend. I don't remember how old, like 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. Right. And we'd go hunting every weekend, hunting rabbits, birds, squirrels, cats, whatever, right? Whatever we could hunt, we'd hunt. And so we went out hunting for the day, and we were coming back in. And when we came back in, we had our rifles, and mind you, we're kids. And one of the rifles was still loaded and cocked. And, we knew gun safety back, forth, and every way you could imagine. At this point, we had been hunting probably for a couple of years, at least a year daily, like every weekend. And, but it happens, right? We were kids, we were young, and he had set the rifle down and was in front of me, facing me. When I went to pick it up, I picked it up and not thinking it's loaded or anything like that. And I pulled the trigger. And when I pulled the trigger, it shot him in the stomach. um, like the abdomen, and he we didn't want to tell him. We were scared, you know. It's like you don't want to get in trouble for shooting your fucking, you know, don't want to do that. So we lied about it for the first like 24 hours, right? We lied about it, and he said like he got stabbed with a stick while we were hunting or some shit. Well, then it got to a point where he had to go to the hospital, and went to the hospital. He was still trying to pull the lie off, and the doctor seen an X-ray. He said, "Boy, you didn't get stabbed by no stick. You got shot." So he had to tell the truth, and he wound up in the hospital for a couple weeks, something like that, for a while. I forget the exact time limit, how long he was in the hospital, but it wound up ricocheting off of his organs. Bing, 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 bing. They like found it up in, like towards his chest area. And he wound up getting two, and they had to cut out his appendix too. But yeah, fucking sucked. So I wound up getting a bunch of shit for that when I was younger about shooting my best friend, my brother forever, fucking. And yeah, it sucks, but we were kids, and I don't remember. I think we might have been like 11, 12 years old, maybe. It was between like somewhere 10 and 12 years old, right around there. But it was the equivalent of a 22. That's why it ricocheted, right? Everybody knows 22s. It was actually an air rifle, but it was it shot at 1,200 feet per second, so it was high powered, like very high powered. I've actually shot a lot of 22s that weren't even that powerful. A lot of 22s shoot like 700 feet per second, between 700 and like 1,500 feet per second, depending, right? Obviously, depending. But yeah, it since it ricocheted, you know, because it is small and everything, and he was so close. I mean, he was point blank right in front of me, so it didn't have much distance, you know, to slow down or anything like that. But also, when things come out, they do have like a point of picking up speed and then slowing down. So, but yeah, accidents happen. Accidents happen. Shit happens. But this was drunk folks with no business firing guns that night. I don't know what we're talking about. I'll try to go back. I had a friend stand up in front of another friend shooting a shotgun. Very tragic. I've seen a lot of gun things happen. Watch my I'm not even going to that. I got a story with my dad shooting at my cousin. It was pretty crazy. I shot myself in the hand with a 22 when I was a teenager. I watched um or not watched, but I was like there anyways. My friend shot his thumb off with a fucking 40 caliber. Wow. Turned it inside out. Um I've seen I mean, obviously everybody knows somebody who's committed suicide. I'm a big gun supporter, but if there's intoxication going on and you put your hands near a weapon, we ain't friends. Hold on a second. I'm a big gun supporter, but if there's I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, I think there's a point, like, right, like if you're out down south, you live out in the country, and you know, it's your house and you're nobody's around, whatever, right? But yeah, I do agree. There has to be a point of where you're very cognitive. Okay, so most gun owners, right? Most firearm owners respect a gun so much that that they like the rules of safety and shit like that are so embedded in them that people don't acknowledge it and don't give that enough credit to how powerful somebody is that is safe with a gun and that understands and that they respect it. They know how dangerous that thing is. And it's not even about how dangerous that thing is, it's about how dangerous a person can be, right? So they understand, you know, that stuff. And I think that gets overlooked a lot. But yeah, you do have to understand firearm safety and know what you're doing. And that's what I've always grown up with them, always, like since I was a little kid. And so I've always like been like really crazy about that, about gun safety. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely had my fair share of unsafe scenarios, and that's why I respect the rules so much, because I've seen what happens when you don't follow them. Everybody gets shot with an unloaded gun. So that's why I'm a responsible gun owner. I know I wouldn't be able to use a gun responsibly, so I don't buy one. Yeah, and sometimes you gotta know yourself, right? You gotta know yourself, and if you do know that about yourself, I know other people that are the same way. They won't let themselves around firearms because they know how they get, and in that case, that's smart. Don't do that. Well, because you have to be that responsible one. It's kind of like people that say, like, oh, if I had a gun, I'd do this, whatever. Then you shouldn't have one. You should not have them, because that should be like the most last case scenario you can imagine, that it's not even in the vocabulary of the argument. The argument should be everything else you would do. uh, you know um and yeah, I've seen a lot of stupid and crazy shit with them, but I love them, and I highly, highly stand for Second Amendment and the right to bear arms, and nobody will ever talk me out of that, regardless of anything. I don't put my finger on the trigger, even if the clip is out of my gun, and I know for a fact a bullet isn't in the chamber. And I yell at my husband if he does it. Yeah, you're obviously you're not supposed to put your finger on the trigger unless if you're willing to shoot whatever's in front of you. Like that's the thing. Don't put your finger on the trigger, right? Unless if you're willing to kill what's in front of you, right? But like, I don't know. There are a lot of little nuances and details, like say with that, right? When you are cleaning it, it's empty and everything else. I mean, I think there's sometimes like reasonable things. Plus, there's like ways of practicing, like with the laser bullets and things like that. So I think it just depends on what you're doing in the scenario. But yeah, guys, we've been fucking going for a long time. Where's the timer? Oh, 2 hours and 10 minutes. Chris aimed an unloaded pistol. Wait, Chris aimed an unloaded pistol at him when he came in the door from school and said, "I'm going to shoot you," joking around. Jamie grabbed the shotgun, not realizing it was loaded, and you can guess the rest. Man, no good. No good. Man, that sucks. That sucks. Um, I know of like similar kind of things happening. Um, but yeah, I had somebody one time. I had a girl, a female too, not even a dude, a female. I had my pistol in my holster, but it wasn't snapped, and the girl grabbed it and pulled it out and then pointed it at my head, not knowing if it's loaded, cocked, anything like that. I fucking snatched it so fast that I wound up hurting her kind of. Is I just grabbed it and like yanked her to the ground at the same time, like kind of like how you grab somebody and like yank them to the ground so fast, and she hit the ground really hard. Her boyfriend was right there too. But I was pissed. I was so mad because at that time I had things happen, with firearms that made me very particular about how you handle them. So that touched like it touched a bad part in me, like where I was mad. And yeah, it was so stupid. Like, what the fuck is your problem? How dumb are you? Right? Like it didn't make any sense. Even when I think about it now, it's like, what? Like why? That doesn't even make sense. Why would you do something like that? But people are stupid, man. People are stupid. All right, guys, I'm gonna take off. Yeah, it's not hard to. I mean, it's easy to be mad at that. I felt bad for twisting her arm the way I did, but then I didn't. It's like, you did that, not me. Like I didn't do anything wrong. But I'm so protective over females that I don't. You know what I mean? Like that to me is like that's such a last case scenario type of thing that I I'm the type that would fucking get the shit kicked out of me by a girl before I'd ever put my hands on her. So, all right, guys, I love you guys. Peace. Absolutely, Lord. Theo, Lord. All right, guys, take it easy.